What's going on, everybody? These are the views from Black K. I'm Max. That's Steve. Happy Memorial Day for everyone listening on this Monday, or if you're listening later in the week, happy June. Steve, how are you looking today so far?
Well, I felt good when I woke up until I saw my bets lost yesterday. So not happy about that. We'll talk about that a little bit. I'm watching this Phillies game right now. Not feeling good about that. But I mean, hey, it is Memorial Day, so remember the ones that we lost to protect us and everything that we have with that. But I'm going to enjoy my extra day off this week as well with that. But I'm ready to talk some Sixers basketball. I know, I'm sure you are too.
Looking pretty good for this week as well. Remembering those who gave their life, but also, like you said, taking advantage of that extra day off. But I got a wedding at the end of this week, so I'm just thinking about how am I going to compress 5 days of work into 3 days. It's not going to be a fun time for that. But let's just roll with the good times now, and let's look back at the Sixers game from last night. And I think the only way to put it is this team was living by the three all night, and the Wizards were dying by the three all night. So the Sixers go up, and they win 132-103. Absolutely dominant performance from beyond the arc. The Sixers were shooting the lights out, hitting 52% of their shots from downtown, averaging that out. 17 three-pointers made on an attempted 33, which I don't think I saw this coming because, like I said, I was at that game on Saturday night. They just couldn't miss, and even the shots that weren't hitting the bottom of the net, they were bouncing around pretty well, and they were good looks all across the board. Danny Green and Steph Curry, the two main forces driving it last night, they combined for 30 points with 24 of them coming from the long ball. The Wizards all night just had trouble switching on the perimeter, trying to guard these shooters. They had no answers because everyone was hot all night long for Philly. But we also got to talk about the rest of the starters who combined for a total 100 points last night. Joel Embiid set a playoff career high with 36 points last night while also grabbing 8 boards. Ben Simmons put up 14 points with some gorgeous dunks, 9 assists, 5 boards, and then Tobias Harris quietly having a double-double with 20 points, 13 rebounds, and also adding on 5 assists. Now, at the expense of those 5 guys totaling 100 points, the bench only had 32 points. We didn't really need too much out of them last night because we had the guys on the court for so long and they were shooting so well the Wizards couldn't get anything going. Just want to keep an eye on that for some future games going forward. What notes do you have to take away from TV?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game all around. I felt like Mike Breen last night. Every time the Sixers were shooting a 3, I was yelling bang. It was really good to see that production out of Curry and Green. I loved who was wearing the shirt. I think it was Danny Green that wore the shirt, or maybe it was Curry. I can't remember.
It was Steph Curry.
It was Steph Curry.
Green Curry House.
Yeah,
of
it was
threes.
the Green Curry House of Threes. I love that, man. Like that's the energy you want to take into a game like that. Bench was a little concerning from TV. The starters got out to a nice early lead, and then the bench came rolling in and kind of shortened that lead a little bit. And then the starters came back in and kind of wrapped it up. A couple tough calls last night as well. The travel on Embiid was questionable. The tie-up fouls with Howard and Lopez were questionable. The illegal screen on Howard was questionable. So a tough night on calls, but I mean the team didn't really let it get to them. They really played well, capitalizing on the opportunities they had. Wizards just did not look themselves. I think we are finally in Russ's head because he didn't play that great. So I mean they took advantage of the opportunities, and I think they just need to continue to capitalize on those chances when Game 4 rolls around tomorrow night.
Yeah, like you said, it's actually tonight for all the guys that are listening for us.
Tonight, yes, you're right.
Game 4 will be happening. It's going to tip off at 7 o'clock on TNT. I messed up last time. I said it was TNT. It was actually ESPN. Don't think too many people were affected by that. Just a quick channel flip for it. But touching on it as a whole, like I said last night, it was an electric energy at Capital One Arena in D.C., but not for the Wizards. There were a lot of Sixers fans that turned up last night and got rowdy. They got loud. couple too many obnoxious Sixer fans. Unfortunately, two that were next to me, my shoe got absolutely drenched in a double IPA. I can still smell it right now on the other side of the room. It's not great. Still working on that. But all in all, it's just an incredible night last night. And I texted this to you, Steve. I don't know if they touched it on the TV broadcast last night, but obviously from game two with the Russ incident, down by the Sixers bench or by the Sixers tunnel, all the seats that were the two sections next to it and the one above it, they put these little white like sheet cards telling everyone, hey, just a friendly reminder, here are the NBA's code of conduct rules. I'm like, you really got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
it's sad that it comes down to that point, especially because now there's been 3 incidents in the first round, where they've had to escort fans out of the stadium or, suspend tickets and things like that. It's really sad when it comes down to that because you never really hear it happening all that much during the regular season, and the fact that it's been, for most of these series, only 4 or 5 games, and they're already tossing people from these arenas. It's just kind of disappointing to see all around, and kind of a, I can't believe humanity has come to this, but it's crazy to see that they had to do that in Washington, especially just by the Sixers bench. I don't know if they did it on the other side. I would imagine they did it on the other side too, but
no, they didn't.
They did.
It was only on the Sixers side. There were a couple times at halftime and the end of the game, they had a row of like 8 security guards lining each side of the tunnel, making sure the fans weren't going over to it. And there were some Wizards fans that were trying to go over and get in the face of some of the players. With all the security presence there, no one really got to them. But it got a little chippy, or it could have gotten chippy if there was no one there. So there's a little more energy picking up with this series. I don't know how much we're going to see of it because the Sixers are already up 3-0 on this series. I would be stunned if this game or if the series came back to DC.
So talk to me a little bit because I'm just curious now, and this can side trail or whatever, but the way that Capital One Arena was laid out, at least on TV last night, you could see the bottom of the hockey ice. So you can see the bottom of the ice, how they laid it out. So how far were you really from the court and from the tunnels if you were in the stands?
So the way this section was set up, it was all the permanent seating. So I was row G of my section, which would have been, 7 rows away from where that end of the ice was. But they blocked off the first 5 rows and didn't allow any fans in them on either side of the tunnel. And I think that's why it took so long for them to sell tickets originally after that incident, to make sure there was no one immediately right there. They tried to keep as many fans out as possible. And they kind of security talked with everyone in the sections at some point. They were just trying to get a feel like who are the Sixers fans, who are the Wizards fans, knowing who was supposed to be in that section, or if someone tries to come up. Because there were even kids that were trying to walk down at some point and say hi to the Sixers players, like they were in their Sixers gear, and they were kind of just pushing them back away, like, man, you can't be down here. They're like, I'm just trying to say hi to Joel. It's like, hey, man, I'm sorry, you can't be down here. This is what we were told from the league.
It's sad it's come down to that.
Yeah, it's been hostile. That's the only real way to put it. Touching on the last note from the game last night, said it before, the Wizards were cold all night long. They shot only 40% from the field, which was less than what the Sixers shot from beyond the arc the entire game, which was kind of concerning. But I want to give an honorable mention to former Sixer legend Raul Neto. Shot 1 from 12 from the floor last night, and going 0 of 6 from beyond the arc. That man was feeling himself all night. He was confident letting the ball fly, and then just rattle off the iron, way off the backboard, rattle off the iron. Just poor shooting performance from him altogether. All the Wizards outside of Beal and Westbrook just did not have good nights last night. Sixers perimeter defense did look a little shaky at points. There were times where the Wizards were getting some runs back in. I think after the first few minutes of the game, the narrowest the lead was 5 at some point in the second quarter. But then the Sixers really were starting to pull away with it late in the game.
Yeah, I think what hurt them a little bit on their perimeter defense is they were double teaming at some points. I mean, Westbrook at some points they were double teaming Brill, and at some point they even got a little bit on Bertans. So they were leaving that extra wing guy open. So that hurt them a little bit. So they got to figure out what they can do to rotate a little bit better on the perimeter. Because it really seems like the Wizards, they really do live by the three and die by the three, and that we've kind of seen that throughout this series.
One thing to note also from last night, the Sixers were taking some real double team looks on Beal and Westbrook as they got to the second quarter, and that's when you saw them open up those perimeter opportunities, and the Sixers, or the Wizards, I should say, really were able to take advantage of their shooting performance and light it up when they had no one on them. Still times where they were missing. Sixers were going down and cleaning the boards well, especially Tobias with his 13 boards. Moving forward, Game 4 tipping off tonight. It's probably going to be a sweep. I mean, we'll touch on it come Thursday again. I don't know when Game 5, if it's tentative, will happen. I think Wednesday would be Game 5, but we can talk about that depending on what happens tonight. One final thing to talk about with the Sixers is actually looking forward to the second round. Right before we started recording today, the Hawks decimated the Knicks again, taking both games in Atlanta, and they are currently up 3-1 on the series as it's heading back to Madison Square Garden. I don't want to speak too prematurely, but I think it's time for the Sixers to start scouting out the Hawks a little bit and see what they got to do, especially how can they stop Trae Young.
Yeah, I'd agree. That series is looking like it's coming to an end sooner than later. Knicks might pull out one more before the series is done, but I think we're going to be looking at Atlanta in the second round matchup, and that'll be a tough one. I think they'll still be able to pull that series out, either team, but I think we'll see Atlanta come round 2.
Yeah, the Hawks do not have a lot of bench depth. That was something I touched on a few episodes ago, looking over the entire Eastern Conference preview. Trae Young, so far, it's been his first playoff series, and it hasn't looked like it. It's looked like he's a veteran right now. He's averaging 27.5 points per game and 10 assists. The ball's just running through him. He's really giving the Hawks energy that they can pick up so far. Sort of mapping out who would be similar to what we've seen in this series so far. Bradley Beal is probably your best bet, and the Sixers have done an okay job guarding him. He's still put up about 30 points per night in the series so far. But the one positive is the Sixers offense has been overpowering the Wizards, and we hope to see more of that in round 2 because we got a lot of guys that can match up defensively with who the Hawks have, like DeAndre Hunter and John Collins, really take away those secondary and tertiary scoring options. But you still got to find a way to stop Trae Young because if you try and double up Trae, he's going to pass it out to someone that can get to him well, and you can't just hope that it's going to be bench against bench and that you need the Sixers bench to constantly step up every night.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens after the game tonight, and then the Hawks and Knicks next game, and we'll see if we'll see who's playing who in round 2, or if we're going to have to wait another little bit. What I think come Monday when you're listening to this, but we'll talk about that in bets of the week because I don't really think the Sixers will pull out Game 4. I think they'll go to Game 5, but we'll talk about that in a little bit later.
All right, well, let's keep moving. Let's look at I don't even know how to describe the Phillies. I keep trying to find new adjectives each week, but it's depressing.
Yeah, it's been a tough go since we last talked on Friday. They had a 2-game set down in Tampa, Saturday and Sunday, both afternoon matinee games. Saturday dropped the game 5-3 against the Rays, basically wasting a great outing from Zach Wheeler. Despite him giving out the 3 runs, he went 7, allowing only 4 hits and striking out 14, which was a career high for him. I think that's 3 straight games with 10+ strikeouts, and he's kind of made some records on that. So that's something that's good, and we talked about it. He's kind of been our star of the season up to this point. But clearly they're just not able to finish or score runs here. Left the game tied, but then Coonrod allowed 2 runners on with 1 out, and then Alvarado allows both runs, but the loss was credited to Coonrod because they were inherited runners. Officially, this does say currently down, but it's official. They did lose 6-2 on Sunday to the Rays as well. They got bases loaded in the 9th inning, though, and then Odubel Herrera popped one out to center field to end the game. Eflin, the starter on the mound today, went 4 2/3. Honestly, the line wasn't that bad, except the home runs that he allowed. 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 5 Ks, and 2 home runs given up. Despite the home runs, that's not an awful line.
I'm still going to call it his worst line of the year. This is his first outing, or of his 11 starts this year. This is his only one that he has not made it 6 innings so far
I'm not going
on
to
the
say
year.
that it was his best outing, but I'm not going to say it's. I mean, we could have seen something far, far worse from him.
For what we've seen from Eflin so far this year, it was bad. Do you expect him to at least get 6? Yeah, he gave up 4 runs, 2 long balls. I expected him to go a little longer, especially with how the Phillies bullpen has been looking this year. I mean, Archie Bradley gave up 2 runs today. That was his first real questionable performance of the entire year, or I guess of the month and a third he's played so far while he was out with injury.
Well, and technically, only gave up 1 run, and it wasn't even earned. It was off an error. Brogdon was credited with a run too. So Bradley gave up 1, Brogdon gave up 1, Eflin gave up 4 today. So I just the other thing that's killing them is they're leaving guys on base. I mean, 8 men left on base today. And bases loaded in the ninth, and you can't even get 1 run across. This team is just struggling, man. And I don't know. I can't really attribute it too much to injuries because JT's back and has played well since he's been back in his 2 games. I mean, he DH'd today, caught yesterday. Harp should be back soon, I think. I don't know what the deal with Didi is. And then obviously we see a guy in Roman Quinn who hasn't been really a standout guy for this team. I mean, I gotta give him credit though. I mean, yesterday he was running hard to get this game tied up. He slipped on the turf in Tropicana, blows out his left Achilles. So he's put on the 60-day DL. I would assume we will not see him back this year, and I don't know how long into next year. I don't know what his contract situation is like. We might not even see him again if he's up. I don't know though, so don't quote me on anything. We did see the contract of Travis Janikowski from AAA Lehigh Valley get selected and added to the 40-man roster today, so he gets to call up heading into the big club to meet them in Cincinnati for a 3-game set. It looks like Odubel will be the center fielder for this foreseeable future. I'm sure they'll try to get Janikowski in a little bit. They might try to put in a little bit of Bamboo Brad, or rotate some guys around. Because I mean, Harper does have experience playing in center field too, so they could put Harper in center and put Brad in right, or vice versa. See what happens there. They might mess with some things, but sad to see it happen to Roman Quinn. I mean, I know there's many people that aren't a big fan of him, but it's always tough to see a guy go down with an Achilles injury. I mean, I remember the playoff run where Howard was running down the base for the last out of the game, and he blew his out. So hopefully Quinn will be back and healthier than ever. But I mean, this guy just can't catch a break. He's always a walking injury. So it might be time to move on from Roman Quinn after this last experience.
Yeah, not to mention, of all the positions for us to go now with an injury, it's center field where we still don't know who that guy for the foreseeable future is. It felt like it was between Roman Quinn and Odubel Herrera, but now it's kind of fallen into Odubel's hands to see what he can really do. I take that back. He's been okay in the field. He's been fine at the plate. I'm still just not a big fan of him. We'll have to see what kind of lineups they pulled out for that 3-game series coming up against Cincinnati, like you said. Briefly touching on what the Phillies have ahead of them: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, going to Cincinnati. 2 afternoon games, 1 evening game on Tuesday, and then they take Thursday off, and they come back to play the Nationals this upcoming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the Braves coming back into town right afterwards. So
Yeah, it looks like for your 3 starters going in Cincinnati, you're going to have Vinny V starting on Monday, Aaron Nola going Tuesday, Howard going on Wednesday, and then first pitcher up for the Nat series will be Zach Wheeler. So hopefully we can get a couple wins out of this series, and Cincinnati pull some surprises out. But it's going to be a tough go, and I'm still not expecting that much from them now, especially given the injury bug has really hit this team hard.
Yeah, and then furthermore, touching on the Phillies, they currently now drop to 3rd in the division at 25 and 28 on the year, 4 games back of the Mets, who are really starting to pick up their form. and they are a half game back of the second place Braves. If we go and look at the wild card, just to touch on it, I'm not really expecting to see anything here. Yeah, the Phillies are even further back in the wild card race. They're 6.5 games back of the Dodgers for the second wild card spot. It feels like the only way for the Phillies to make the postseason this year is going to be if they find a way to take the National League East, because the National League West is going to put 3 teams in the playoffs, whether we like it or not. All right. Unless there's no other Phillies notes you want to touch on right here, Steve, let's go into bets of the week. And I want to say, you said earlier that you were 2-13. I apologize. I did the math wrong. You actually got one of your bets right last week, so you are at 3-12. You're still down 693, but I looked at the wrong Sixers game. I got the dates confused, so you hit the Sixers and Grizzlies, those 2 games on the over.
Let's go! Oh, I'm hyped now. Oh, dude. All right, I feel better about myself now. Just a little bit, not much, but a little bit.
Man, I felt so bad. I looked at it the wrong way. I'm like, oh, well, I'm wrong. I might as well check for you to see if the Grizzlies hit, and of course they did.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, so for my line, I still sit positive on the year with 178, but a record of 7-11. So I'm going to be doing a Game 4 parlay for the Sixers. Sixers to cover the spread at -7.5, then a win margin of 11 or greater, and then going the under of 230. All that together is at +310 odds.
All right, so I might not make some friends here, but I'm going. Well, we're currently at 3-12, down 693, as Max said. I'm actually going to take the Wizards +7.5. So I think Game 4 will be either closer than we think it'll be, or the Wizards will pull it out and we'll go to Game 5 in Philly. I think we've kind of beat on the Wizards a little too much the past 3 games. They're due for a game, honestly, with guys like the likes of Bradley Beal, Russ Westbrook, and Bertans. So
just stop. Bertans is not a formidable force.
Well, you know what? I don't care. I'm putting his name out there. So I think they could take a game. I couldn't think they could steal a game. But even with that, I think they still could cover the spread. I think it could be, if they lose, it could be a close game. So I'm going to take Wizards +7.5 there. I'll probably be wrong. I hope I'm wrong on this one. But I think they're just due for a game here.
Yeah, do you want me to read you the margins of the 3 games so far through the series?
I mean, you can, but I think we've whipped on them too much that they're just due.
The closest game was Game 1, and that was a 7-point win. Game 2, that was a 25-point win. And Game 3, that was a 29-point win. I don't know how much you like graphs, but if you were to plot those going forward, it's just a steady rise up.
I don't like graphs. Too many numbers.
Well, I'm a stats junkie, so I'm going to throw as many graphs in your face as I
You
can.
and your analytics.
Listen, man, it's what I grew up on.
Okay,
all right, you got any final notes? Don't get me started on him. You got any?
Yeah, I got. Actually, I got 2. Number 1, as we were recording this, I watched the end of the Indy 500. Big shout out to Elio Castroneves getting the win, his 4th Indy 500 win of his career. We mentioned guys like Tom Brady, Phil Mickelson winning the Super Bowl and at the PGA respectively, and then he wins the 500. I think this is going to be the year of the veteran, so watch out for veteran guys winning games. This could be the year of the veteran for the Sixers, as like Joel Embiid and people like that. But year of the veteran, I'm going to call it now. Second thing, actually I got two more, so I actually had a total of 3 things. I just saw this. The Phillies are now 5-14 in their last 19 games played in the state of Florida, so Sunshine State is not nice to them. And I don't know how much of you have been watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. I know I have been a little bit. Coolest thing happened last night. I shared it with some of my friends. Montreal Canadiens Maple Leafs game last night. The Canadiens in Montreal were allowed 2,500 fans based on their COVID-19 protocols. And the coolest thing happened last night. I had goosebumps. all 2,500 fans in that arena were singing "Oh Canada," and honestly gave me goosebumps. It just reminded me of kind of like how far we've come with this whole pandemic situation, and Canada's starting to come back, and hockey's back, and it's just really cool. So those are my thoughts. Max, what do you got?
The only note I got for this week, despite not the fans not really allowed to be too close to the Sixers tunnel at Capital One Arena, I was 2 feet away from catching a wristband from the one and only Anthony Talavere. Fell just a row short of me, and it fell literally on some dude's phone. I was the only person who knew who Anthony Talavere was within a 100-foot radius of that tunnel. He knew I said his name. So close, but so far. But I did get Daryl Morey to say hi back to me as he was leaving the floor, so that was pretty cool.
Daryl Morey, the man of the people.
Yep. And I made eye contact with Ben Simmons, so I fell in love. That's all I'm going to say.
Do we think that we will see Sam Hinkie come and ring the bell? Because I feel like Daryl Morey is a big fan of Sam Hinkie.
Do you know how much I would lose my mind if Sam Hinkie rung the bell for Game 1 of the NBA Finals if it was in Philly?
My question is for you:
ballistic.
How quick, if it was possible, how quick would you buy tickets if you found out that Sam Hinkie was ringing the bell for that game?
See, the thing is, being down in D.C., it's too far away with too short of a notice to get up there. The only thing I have tentatively planned is to be home in Philly or at my parents' house in Philly for that week of the NBA Finals, and then just be prepared for whatever happens.
Listen, I'm just saying, if it goes to a Game 5, tickets are $71 right now.
For the Finals?
No, for Game 5.
Oh, no. For the
let's see.
We're only talking the Finals.
I want to see if they actually have Finals numbers posted. They sometimes do. So let's see what we got here.
The only people who would have it would be season ticket holders.
Sometimes they post them early. They actually don't have anything posted on there right now. Only that's posted is the rest of the first round. Game 5 will be going for $71, and Game 7 goes for $108 right now.
Honestly, your best bet is going to be wait for the Sixers to post their tickets for the NBA Finals, because they're going to announce when they do. And then the second it posts, just try and buy tickets for Game 2 at home.
Yeah.
Whatever one it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be in the area. If you got that money and you got the free time to go on your laptop and do it, go for it.
That's debatable. I could do it. My buddy will be home that week too, and he's like, he's like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care how much money it is. He's like, if they go, I'm getting tickets. And I was like, no, I can't do that. If it was a Phillies in a World Series game, that'd be a little bit of a different story for me. I'm not as big a Sixers fan as you are, Max, but I enjoy them. But if it was a Sixers or a Flyers making a run, I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
But all right, well, I think if that's it. Do you have anything else, Max? Are you good?
No, I'm good on mine.
All right, well, I think that's going to be a nice little short recap pod since we just talked to you guys on Friday. These were the views from Not K. I am Steve. That was Max, coming to you from the Philly and DMV area. So we got some couple big games coming up for Sixers. We got Phillies coming up this week too. We'll recap the Union game that's happening tonight as we record. So we'll kind of get you in the loop on that for Wednesday. I think no schedule changes this week for that situation. So we will keep you guys posted on Twitter, though, if we do decide to change the schedule for something, some event like that. But again, hit us up on Twitter, Views from Not K. You can email us, DM us. We are on YouTube now, Views from Not K on our Twitter or on our YouTube account, where we do post these podcasts on it as well. So if you are a visual guy like to stare at our logo, we are on there as well. I think that'll be it for us. Once again, these are the Views from Not K. I'm Steve.
I'm Max.
We will catch you guys on Thursday.
Thrust the process forever and always.
Amen, brother. Amen.